prank video once where some guy made a DVD of Toy Story 3 for his mom. Yeah. And if you guys, I'm going to ruin Toy Story 3, so be prepared for a spoiler. In Toy Story 3, there's a part where all the toys are headed down into an incinerator, and it's awful. It looks truly hopeless.
I cried.
Yeah, I cried at that part. I was like,
they drug it out for like 5 minutes. I'm like, fuck, just kill my friends.
And
like,
it really seemed like they weren't going to get out, even though it's a Pixar Disney film. Like, you're like, these guys are fucked. There's really no getting out of this. And then the guy cuts the movie there, and it just
credits. It goes to credits.
It goes to credits. He doesn't.
And sad music. And I think he changed the music from "You Got a Friend in Me" to like boom 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 boom. It's like sad piano music, and you're just like,
yeah. And the mom's like, what? It is like that? How can it just? Oh, and she's crying. She's upset. It was great.
You'd hear like a wail from every theater.
Dude, when that incinerator part was going through, I distinctly remember thinking, but it's a Pixar movie. And then I go, yeah, but like, you know, like this legitimately, how in the world, like they'd have to have some divine intervention bullshit. And then I'm like, but the movie's been going on for like an hour and a half, and that's really long for a Pixar movie. We're wrapping up right now. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to kill off my one's going to survive, and he's going to be like burnt with no arm, just like, it wasn't worth the risk. But like, and, you know.
By the way, not as if they haven't like killed off or done, like, weren't there like a cup, like, where's Bo? Where did Bo go? Right? All the army people were gone.
You're right.
You know,
they like sold him off and shit on the like yard sale.
Yeah.
Like,
the difference between him selling off his toys and him mutilating or having them burned alive. Like, there's no way they were going to end a Pixar movie like that and then have a blank screen with the credits, like the dramatic ending of Game of Thrones episodes where there's no music.
And it's just silence, and you're like,
yeah.
I hate that. I hate that.
Down in there, that's pain.
Hate that ending.
I feel like Game of Thrones needs to more... occasionally, it needs to go dark and then come back and give us 5 more seconds.
No, I don't want the old Lord of the Rings fake out where I am like, I love that.
Once a year. Once a year, it needs to come back on and show off maybe one of the many characters that they should have been focused on this year but just weren't for whatever reason. Like, come back on and show me Bran, like, riding a fucking tyrannosaurus. Or, like, you know, something crazy. Show me something.
I want that, but you don't want too many of those fade to black and then come back scenes because it's tacky. Like, you remember the end of the Lord of the Rings, the Return of the King movie, where I love that series and I like the books, and even I, at the end of that, was like, oh, thank God, and it's not over. You got a whole other half hour of them, you know.
I loved it so much that I'm very forgiving of that, because I remember being in the theater, and the first time you think it's over, I was like, oh, it's over. And then the second time you think the movie's over, you're like, oh man, it's over. It's really done now. And then the third time you're like, oh, we're really softening the blow here. like this is like a breakup with someone that like goes over the course of a week. It's like little by little, it's ending the movie for you. And by the end, you're like, well, I guess they really wrapped that up. Like, I wonder what all the minor characters are doing. Like, I feel like they should have had this part at the end where the credits are rolling, but it's like each of the minor characters and like a quick biography. Like, he went on and like started his own gold mine and fucked
like every like sports movie. Like, he later went on and, you know, graduated from college and went nowhere. He's working at Dairy Queen. Like, okay.
Those at the end of sports movies where like one guy will jump up in an action scene and freeze it, and it's like, Ted Daniels went on to run a branch at Monsanto, and then the next jumps up and is like high-fiving.
He died in an Oldsmobile crash in the fall.
Goes on cocaine that night.
Dude, that's my fun. Yeah, like the cocaine that night is a thing, but listen, they'll be like, a lot of them go on to be super winners, right? Like, this guy's a doctor at the local emergency center. This guy went on to be, you know, senator of Massachusetts. This guy, you know, is currently unemployed, hoping to get a job as a lumberjack. And it's like, oh,
Wolverine.
It's tough to be that guy.
Well, but like, honestly, the Remember the Titans, again, spoiler alert from a movie that's been years, whatever. Dude's best friend gets paralyzed from the waist down, and he watches them, like, fucking heartbreaking. Like, everybody's celebrating, fucking the T-bone. Like, you're just like, this is the worst way to do it, man. Watches the team win from, like, the hospital bed, and he can't walk again. And then it's like, he went on to win a gold medal in the Paralympics. And then it's like, Yeah, it's like you're like, yeah, and then it's like
What a
the
fighter.
other guy was like, yeah, #1 draft pick for college and like went on to NFL, and then one of the dudes was like, is currently like working at like a children's rehabilitation center for like the last 6 months, and you're like, wow, that was a real like notch down from everybody else.